it's Tori and I'm here right now with Too Close to Touch. How you guys doing?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm great. This is the whole band. All of Too Close to Touch.
This is the whole band.
Yeah. How are you guys doing?
See that bird? Anyways.
We're off to a great start, you guys.
There's chickens everywhere.
There's chickens everywhere at this venue. We have no chill about it. It's awesome.
No
chill.
Yeah.
Chickens have no chill either.
And neither do we at this point.
Chill.
So to start off this interview, we have some finish the sentence questions for you guys. Just
Oh
some fun
God.
Man,
Finish the sentence?
Yes.
All right.
So basically
God.
you finish the sentence is what I'm trying to say.
Is it a pre-existing sentence?
Yes, I'm gonna
Okay,
give it to you. You ready? So
Okay.
first one, the first concert you ever went to was?
General Frank's. It's a local band.
Okay. I was like,
Yeah.
okay. What
It's
about
actually Mason's older brother's old band.
Oh.
So, fun fact.
you? Y'all go way back.
Oh yeah.
A
High school.
A Warped Tour in 2003.
Oh,
I
perfect.
think. Yeah.
And you're telling that to Warp Tori, so that makes me very happy.
Hashtags everywhere.
Hashtag Warp Tory, hashtag Warp Tour, hashtag Too Close to Touch. And so next one here, one thing you must have while you're on tour is?
There's so many.
Keys.
Fresh
Your keys.
keys.
Which I lost.
He lost his keys
2 days ago.
Fresh socks and undies. Tons of socks and underwear.
Very necessary.
Like the most.
Yeah. And so next one here, one song you have on repeat right now is?
Poltergeist by Banks.
Okay. Nice.
This is hard. I've actually been listening to Duality by Slipknot a lot. So there's.
All right.
So there you go.
Interesting. I thought you were gonna say Duality Set It Off at first, and I was like, okay,
That's a good
okay.
song too. Completely different sides of it all.
Very
but
different band.
yeah, I just sit there and cry and listen to Slipknot. It's pretty sick.
Respect.
Respect.
Put your fingers into it.
And speaking of listening to music and crying, let's talk about your album a little bit, shall we?
Oh, I cry every time.
Was that a good segue for you?
Yeah, that was solid.
Yeah, so Haven't Been Myself is the album that came out over the summer. So if you had to come up with your overall mission statement of what you're trying to accomplish with this album, what would it be?
It's the same thing we do every night. Try to take over the world. Pinky.
So good.
I'm just kidding.
No, I would say, like, the mission statement is just like everyone goes through extremes in their life, whether it be loss or like, which is what the record's about. But like to be specific about this case, like, the record was about a loss in my life, and then there were other things that spawned from that, like, which other songs are about and stuff. So yeah, like, everyone loses things and it sucks, and but it's just kind of like a barrel thing for other people who have lost to kind of realize that, like, hey, I felt like that before.
Yeah.
So.
No, absolutely. It's clear to see from the reaction a lot of fans have had to this record that they are relating to it and taking something away from it.
Like, we obviously knew going into it what the record was kind of going to be about, well, lyrically. So we definitely knew it was going to be a dark record from the start. So, like, as far as writing, we just tried to get ourselves in, like, the right mindset. Like, we sat down, we had meetings about it, and, like, talked about, like, the vibe we wanted to, like, give off through the music, and kind of be able to set him up to sing, to give the message that he wanted to. Because when you write music, you don't want to, like, set limits, really. You don't want to be like, we have to sound like this, we have to sound like this, like, this song has to be this, like, because then you're just, like, stuck in a
fall
box.
into cliches easier.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so, like, and also this was the first time we've ever recorded a record, like, start to finish in one spurt. The Nerve Endings was recorded over 3 separate trips to the
For about a
studio,
year, right?
over the course of a year. So that actually gave that record a lot more, like, contrast, like, because every time we went back to the studio, we had progressed as musicians and as people, and we wanted to, like, mirror that a little bit on this record, and, like, we didn't want the whole thing to sound like one, like, you know what I mean, like one song sounds like all the other songs. So that definitely was, like, the biggest thing instrumentally we focused on, was just trying to be diverse, but trying to, like, stay in a kind of a lane and, like, make it make sense and keep the concept of the record intact.
We did split it up while we were in the studio. Then we did it, like, 6 songs and then, like, 6 songs. So that, like, that takes a lot of the pressure too off of.
And
like,
by 6 songs and 5 songs, he means, like, 13 songs and then
yeah,
like 9 songs and then pick from them.
Yeah.
But that helps too, because even the music that we recorded over 6 weeks, even the music that I was listening to going into the studio was different than what I was like getting into going out of the studio. So
Yeah.
you avoid like falling into a pitfall of like, oh, this week, like I was listening to Duality by Slipknot.
Slipknot.
Yeah. And so
Slipknot.
so all these parts that I'm like influenced by right now, like every idea that I'm coming up with has like this shadow of influence from what you've been listening to. So it's like, oh man, I feel like I'm writing a bunch of really aggressive stuff. Like,
yeah.
so it's cool to do that, and like it also takes the pressure off of like, all right, I got to sit down and write, X amount of songs, vocals in one setting and stuff. So
Yeah, we definitely don't make him do that.
Oh God. No.
We split up the vocals probably the most in the studio, like just so that he has ample time. Like we'll throw him in there like randomly, like just hey, get in there for a second.
Lock me in there.
That sounds very aggressive.
Push a plate on it.
Throw him in there.
Pretty much.
They'll, like open the door.
It's a very
and, like,
dark,
slide
small
my dinner
room.
in there and just close me back in.
There's a hatch. There's a lot of hatches in the studio.
Interesting.
Yeah, all the at Gray Area Studios, each recording room is for each instrument, and you're in like a cell with like steel bars. Like that's how we really did. Like we paid for all this too, by the way. Like most of our
it's
studio
actually-
budget
it's a prison.
went into like making it look like a prison, so that we could really just feel like the
Dark
anguish and the
angst.
despair and just hate ourselves, and it was wild.
Yeah.
It was
You guys are
intense.
Lucky to be alive.
Yeah, it's we consider ourselves method musicians.
I can see all of your attention to detail has paid
yeah.
off, and you do what you got to do to get the job done, right?
We do.
And I want to know a little bit more also about the inspiration behind the album artwork.
As far as like the unfinished square with the ellipsis in the center, like that was like a collective. Like we kind of all sat down. We wanted to brand something that like would be like like every band kind of has like a logo thing going on, and we kind of wanted to do our own kind of thing, so that so we don't have to write too close touch on everything. So we were like, let's like start that now, and it turns out that we had already started doing it like without even really thinking about it. I guess we started adding the we had the 3 dots on our old logos and everything, and like we realized what we had done. And we were like, that
What
makes
have you
sense,
done?
because our careers are just beginning, and everybody knows what ellipsis means. It's like means it's not finished, it's unfinished, continued to be continued. So that goes along with the unfinished square. Like we're just trying, like everyone's growing as people. Like you're always growing every day as a musician, as a person, in your art, in your craft. So like we kind of really liked that thought, because it kind of almost reflected the band name too, and how we got that. So it was definitely like all it kind of just fell into place, and we were like, this feels really natural. It just felt right. And then as far as like the actual picture, the photograph of the girl, like we just instantly saw that, and we're like, that's it.
To me, like as soon as I saw that picture, like the word that like popped in my head was like defeated.
Yeah.
Like she's like naked at the bottom of a pool, like she just looks like literally like your lowest point.
Right.
Yeah.
And stuff, lowest point too, like 'cause it's like, oh, it's a pool, so it's like.
Yeah.
But then she's just
my
like,
gosh.
yeah, it's like that's.
She's drowning in the deep end.
Oh, look at that!
Oh man.
Look at that!
2016 was a pretty big year for you guys. New album came out, first year on Warped Tour, APMAs win,
Yeah.
lots more with that.
Right.
So for you guys, what were your top 3 highlights of the year?
Album release, Warped Tour,
Don't
and
say it.
I mean, for real though, like
Set us up.
I did set you up a little bit, didn't I?
I mean, definitely the album release and the APMA win and Warped Tour were all 3. Like,
I literally asked the question.
yeah.
Just read our minds.
You named the 3 biggest things we did. all year.
you went for it right there.
You set that up. She set us
But
up. for
I learned
failure
how to
right
make
there.
Jello pudding.
What? I finally perfected that. Like,
Wait, did you learn
stew.
how to make Jello pudding now?
Yes.
Congrats.
Thank you. We chased some
Number one
chickens through a
highlight.
parking lot.
yeah, we
like-
chased some chickens.
Okay, so we get it. I
had
asked
a
the question
birthday.
and answered it, guys. All right.
I feel like we're missing something.
Yeah,
No,
it was
all the
cool.
tours have been
Yeah, all the
great.
tours were great.
And writing the record was like fun, obviously too.
We
So-
definitely spent the most time away from home this year than we ever have.
Yeah,
I think
dude.
we only spent like 4 months.
We had 3 weeks
home.
off between February
But
and
home is
August.
where the tour bus is, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, it kind of is. I mean, I don't necessarily like being home. Yeah, when you go home at the end of a tour, yeah, you want to go home. Like, you know, we have 4 days left on this tour, and like I'm excited to like go home, see my friends, see my family. But then you're there for like 3 weeks to a month, and then you're kind of like, man, you get the itch. You're like ready to go back out and like do it. Like, we're gonna be home for at least 2 months before we do our next tour, so we'll be home for a while. So I'm sure like in a month in, I'm just gonna be sitting at home watching. I've watched everything on Netflix at this point, so like that's done. And like I've probably eaten a bunch of food and put on like 13 pounds, and then I'll probably hit the gym right around that time, and then hopefully something new on Netflix comes out after I get bored at the gym. Like, that's pretty much it, is my cycle. It's like I get home and I like stress eat because I'm home, and I'm just like, oh, so much food. And then
Is this what's gonna inspire the next record? The sadness?
Yeah, like our next music video is just gonna be all of us eating like full course meals, like crying.
I feel that.
Pretty much, that's like kind of
I
the
don't think there's
concept.
anything I could relate to more, so please do.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And like Netflix
Go
on in the
for it.
background, Black Mirror's playing. Like,
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
right?
Yep.
So good.
We'll talk about that later.
Binge watch. Yeah.
I've already seen. I watched it all on this tour
Yep.
in like a week, all 3 seasons.
Well, we
It's
need to keep
dark,
you guys
man.
busy on tour
I
then,
know.
so you're not binge eating and watching Black Mirror
What else am
again.
I supposed
Just
to do?
started-
Driving for 12 hours.
Just started Luke Cage.
Yeah,
so-
I almost finished Luke Cage.
Well, you know, I was about to ask you guys what your plans for after this tour are, but I feel like you kind of answered it. But is there anything
Yeah.
else that fans can look forward to that you want to share?
This whole year is going to be sick.
I can tell you we're doing stuff for the first 8 months.
Stuff is very vague.
Stuff is very
very
vague, but I
vague.
can't tell you
Yeah.
anything.
Yet?
I mean, I can tell you something.
You can.
I'm
You
just-
might.
I can't tell anything.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick.
All right, so
Well,
we're gonna have to wait
big-
and see.
you guys will
big
know
plans.
very, very soon. Well, wait, when is this gonna be released?
soon.
Okay, well, I don't.
The
know
news is
context.
too close to touch. I feel like we should leave it at that, right?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
All right.
I'm
Well, thank
good.
you guys for
Yeah, of
hanging
course.
out.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Yeah,
Thank
of
you.
course.
Yeah, and everybody
Always.
watching, make sure you check out Too Close to Touch if you haven't already. Subscribe for more interviews, and we'll catch you later.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.